So, what naive realism is, or why it's a problem? Naive realism is the view that the object of our knowledge, or the objects of our knowledge, they are real objects, yes, but that we don't have to use our thought in order to know them. It's as if the object just sort of, by osmosis enters into our minds. That we don't have to engage our thinking faculties in order to think about those objects. So it's a realism. Yes, we have real objects, but it's naive as opposed to critical, because we don't have to engage thinking. Whereas when we engage thinking, it's just a Kantian term. We're being critical. And that's interchangeable with transcendental. We're asking what are the transcendental conditions for the possibility of the thoughts that we are having. So naive realism is the view that denies that we have to engage our intellect whenever we have knowledge, and it's a problem for a number of reasons. First of all, it leads to a kind of a representationalist view about knowledge, that by some sort of osmosis, the knowledgeable content of objects enters our minds the way furniture enters the empty room of a house. But second of all, it's just not what happens whenever we're gaining knowledge, because every time we gain knowledge, there's a kind of an agency involved, and we're not just talking about sitting trying to figure out a difficult text or trying to figure out a difficult scientific problem. Think about the different sort of experiences that two people have on the beach. One person who's on holiday having on the beach having drinks, and the other is the marine biologist on the beach. The marine biologist's intellect is engaged in trying to think about all the different marine life on the beach. The person on holiday is just shutting down, having drinks, not thinking what I'm going to be doing after this podcast, just crashing and burning after a crazy semester. That their intellect isn't engaged. But if the naive realist is correct, both those individuals are undergoing the same intellectual operations, which is just false, because the marine biologist is trying to kind of come to terms with all the stuff around him or her, whereas the person having a drink on the beach is not. So there has to be some sort of agency to the intellect, and if there is, then naive realism, or a realism which isn't critical, is ruled out. So I hope for Nate that sort of just
that was great.
Sets
Yeah.
the issue up.